you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, check one, check two. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour. It's your host, Rob Cantrell, and I have an amazing show, and a dope show, a caffeinated show, a cannabisized show, a Lionize show. I got my good buddy coming here from Washington, D.C., the 202 official. Please give it up for Nate Bergman, everybody.
How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good, man. How are you, Nate?
Very good. Also very caffeinated right now.
Nice. Yeah, I'm on my second French press. I got all into it.
Amazing.
Thanks for doing this, Nate. I know you're in DC. I know you're pushing this new album. I've been pumping the new beats. You sent me the new album. I enjoyed the new song. The Ode to Manchester is what I was just listening to.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Before we get deep, thank you for doing this.
No, thanks for having me. Anyone that wants, when you're in quarantine, anyone that wants to talk to you, it's an open invitation. You know what I mean? I'm in 400 square feet in Capitol Hill, so.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, I know where exactly you are. I know your block, or I know your neighborhood. But everybody's like this. But sometimes you don't want to feel like Zooms do zap you out a little bit. You can only do like 3 Zooms a day. If you're pushing over 3 Zooms,
or one Zoom that has like 8-9 family members on it. That's just a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a drainer. And my wife will spring up like the family Zoom. All of a sudden, I'm sitting down to eat a chicken parm. And
yeah, dude. I know it.
Steve asked me about economics and how I'm going to survive in this new economy. I'm sitting here like, man, I just sat down.
Yeah, what's it like for an independent artist in the middle of a pandemic while you're trying to enjoy the one escape you have for the day, which is your chicken parm? You know, you get that 15 minutes of delight, and the rest of it's anxiety and dread. And then you got
some sleep in there, and you got some masturbation, and you got some defecation. If you hit those 3, you hit sleep.
I feel like you've been watching me. I feel like you've been watching me.
If you defecated and you got a good nut, dude, I mean, that's the trifecta right there.
Yeah, I mean, I applied for unemployment in DC for the first time ever. I got to do it. And I can tell you for a fact I'm making more money now. I'm making more money now staying home and doing and defecating and nutting and sleeping than I am out there grinding, for sure.
Dude, I feel the same way, but let's not blow up the spot. All right. I never applied for unemployment ever. And I've been doing stand-up for 20 years. But I've had side gigs and shit that's taken things out of that I was just like on to the next. So I did it and they turned me down. I didn't have enough hours this year.
Oh, shit.
But New York had a COVID thing, and I pushed on that, and I got through to my local representative, like the city rep, and I called their office. They pushed it through. I'm getting a little money. I'm not getting big money, but I am getting because of the COVID. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It took the dread level off a couple notches.
For sure. It eases the mortgage thing. But the embarrassing part about this, I guess, and I'm definitely not, I don't want to get political. This is not the hour for it. But I think the saddest part is, having toured internationally, and I'm talking to my friends in Greece and in Germany, and every other country in the world seems to really value its arts and seems to really value its comedians and its musicians. And we're like the last country in the world, in the modern industrialized world, that you really are scraping the bottom of the barrel when you're dealing with arts and artists. And in Germany, the 5 days after they had the shutdown, they gave musicians and painters and comedians and stuff, they already had them on a monthly stipend above the one that they already get just for being an artist. It's it's wild.
That's fat. Just let me give some background. And everybody, this is Nate Bergman. And Nate Bergman I met years ago. He still is the head or the lead singer guitarist for one of the top bands in DC and one of the funkiest bands I've ever seen live. One of my favorite bands, Lionize. But I've known these kids since they were cubs. You know, I've known them since they were like 21 years old.
Straight up.
Our careers have always kind of, you know, I don't know, danced together in some ways. We've done gigs here and we've remained friends. And if you're in New York, I'll stop by a gig. Or if I'm in DC, you guys will stop by a gig. And, but the thing that was fascinating was you guys were doing it in music. You were opening up for Clutch, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. But you were touring with them, which is like a major act. Just to get to that level is amazing. And what I was like, oh shit, these fucking young bucks are out here killing it. But then, you know, you're also awesome dudes and smart and evolved and just, I'm just saying, like, if you weren't in bands, I'd probably hang out with you guys. If we were we were in school together, I would still kick it with you, Nate. Like,
we share similar interests.
People.
Thank you. Likewise. I mean, the music thing is the thing. Music is the thing that kind of brought everyone together. Our common love for the golden era hip hop and go-go, the rock bands that we kind of both were into. And then I think it's really interesting too that comedy on the other end I've always loved stand-up comedy. So when I finally met a real comedian, it was a treat for me to watch, you know, your journey too, to kind of see how you've evolved and where you've gone to from a time, I guess, when we first met. Comedy kind of like wasn't the hottest thing, and now comedy is the hottest thing in the world right now. And it's just interesting to kind of see it, you know, all happen at once.
I know. When I saw you guys, and I remember talking to Louis Katz, who's like one of my dudes that I started out with in San Francisco. And I remember telling him, I was like, because comedy wasn't hitting in 2002, 2000. I was like, dude, I see us as like MCs, like total hip hop MCs. Like, we're all fucking, I think it's just as hip as that. And he was looking at me like I was cross-eyed. He was like, I don't know. But then for his generation, he saw the whole wave. Like, I saw it, the wave is still happening. But it's weird because I remember when comedy wasn't that cool. But now comedy is almost as cool as being in a band, or almost cooler. That's what's weird for me.
It's definitely cooler. It's cooler.
It's gotten, but there was a time when it was not. And I know that time, I've seen this bubble go before. The 80s did the same shit, man.
Yeah.
You have to be wary of the hype, as Chuck D is, you know, one of the most prolific lyricists of all time. Never, ever believe the hype. But it is kind of a cool ride to see it, you know, both of us. I've seen you kind of go, you know, internationally, and then you have a fan base in Greece that where you were talking about, like, just the last few years, like, internationally music has opened up for you.
Yeah, it's interesting though too, in the same sense. I think it was kind of cool in like the 90s and the early 2000s to be in a band. But then I think now it's not very cool to play an instrument or like to really know what you're doing. I think it's very cool to be like avant-garde, not very good. I think that's the hippest like thing that you could do right now, is just to kind of have a laptop and be like, I don't really care about music. So, you know, that's like kind of the most popular vibe right now. But I think just like comedy, I guess the real shit never goes away, right? So like Dave Attell, you got dudes like you and Dave Attell and Stanhope and guys that have just been grinding forever, and they're still the realest ones. They're the ones that
I'm not on those guys' shelf. But
come on, dude. Yeah, you absolutely are. You absolutely
those dudes shelf. But no, I get what you're saying. Especially in the age of social media, it's tricky to be an artist, but also it's the most empowering time to be an artist. I mean, you're killing it on Patreon. If anybody knows, Nate has this new project. He's gone solo, and he's always had this really soulful, cool voice. And this new album he sent over that I've been listening to and checking out his YouTube has this, like, it has almost like a Western country laid back feel. And you know who I've been getting into lately that I think is dope is JJ Cale. Is that the dude that
for sure
wrote all the songs for, not all the songs, but he wrote Cocaine, and he wrote
JJ Cale is incredible.
Yeah, JJ Cale, I've been on a deep dive, dude. I mean, I wanted to talk about, with this podcast, I talk about cannabis. I've been going a lot into music. That's why I'm psyched to have a real musician, a dude that's paid.
Cool, yeah.
But JJ Cale's great because he kind of was before all this do it yourself. He was making all those songs himself. Like those The Breeze is on a drum track. It's on an electric drum machine.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a slew of great people like that. I mean, in all honesty, even going if you really want to go back to it, I mean, Sam Cooke was producing and publishing his own material at a time where that was when the mob basically controlled the music business.
Was
and
that
there's a lot
Sun Records? Is Sam Cooke's son, or is Sam Cooke's a soul singer, right?
Sam Cooke, yeah.
Okay.
So he was in the. I mean, people say he basically invented soul music. I would kind of.
So the predates Motown, or did he start Motown?
Predates Motown.
Wow.
He was the first gospel singer in the Chitlin circuit to come over and cross into secular music, but by using the gospel sound, which was soul music. I mean, that's where it came from. So he had all these number one hits, and he said about halfway through his career, kind of at the peak of his career, he said, why am I taking a little bit of chump change for a publishing deal when I can just put up all the money myself and then retain all the publishing rights? And a lot of people believe in the industry that the mob killed him because his catalog was worth so much money, and he was taking money, he was taking food right off their table. And so I think you look at guys like Sam Cooke, you look at guys like JJ Cale, you look at guys like Nils Lofgren, who's also a fellow DC area cat who ended up playing with the E Street Band, Chuck Brown, all these guys. These are all guys that did it themselves. The Bad Brains, Minor Threat. DC, I really actually feel has this kind of self-sustaining attitude, kind of from the get-go.
Yeah, man, and you guys have it. I mean, the thing about DC is like whatever, being cool or being like widespread cool isn't cool in DC.
No,
like you gotta have respect amongst DC people, and DC people are haters at their heart.
At the heart of it all, it's fueled by hate.
I don't know if it's fully haters, but they don't cut no bullshit. You know, that's the thing. I wouldn't say it's hate. It's just no bullshit. You can't fuck around. And the same thing with New York. But New York, the big money's here, and the big money will always win in New York.
For sure.
Hollywood. But
for sure,
he doesn't have the big money. It's more politics, and all those people are in bed by 9 o'clock, so they're not even dealing with the art scene. You know. So DC's always had that. I don't give a fuck where you're from. Like a DC cat is like, I don't know. There was a snobbery, not as much anymore. But if you weren't from DC or you weren't about DC, people didn't give you full respect.
Well, I totally remember too, kind of when Biggie and Bad Boy, when Puffy was kind of doing the Bad Boy thing, he leaned so heavily into the fact that he went to Howard. And they talked about DC a lot, and they talked about Howard because I think it's one of those tastemaker cities in a weird way, where like Houston, Atlanta, LA, Chicago, New York, and DC. And if you don't have those in a mainstream setting, if you don't have DC, you're not going to get Houston or Atlanta. It's part of that, it's part of like the vibe scene. And I think more and more now, it's the music scene is starting to come back a little bit. It left for a long time. It's been atrocious for a very long time, but I see it starting to come back, and it goes in waves like everything else. So
yeah, it goes in waves, man. And that's what I was thinking about your new sound, or what you're pushing towards. There is kind of a country western thing going on there.
Sure. I mean, I think that really came from, like, I love old country and I love old blues.
Yeah, I saw the ZZ Top documentary. Did you see the ZZ?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But right, so you look at ZZ Top, right, and it's like it's blues and it's rock and it's a little bit of country, and it's like my goal with the new songs I made was to not have anything in mind as far, like, I feel like I really love the music that I've made in Lionize, but I did feel like going into this project, I was more free because when you have a fan base and you have a group and you're working in a group setting, you have, and I don't look at them like restrictions, but there are expectations. There's expectations internally and externally that influence where your mind goes to create the thing you're going to create. For instance, I think if you have the best pizza spot, you're not going to start looking to make, Indian food.
Yeah.
You're not going to go experiment with that because that's not what your core customer base wants, But to me, that started to feel a little restrictive artistically. So I looked at this project, and I don't call it a project really because I think this is the new direction that I'm moving in. But I really do. I felt so free to do anything I wanted, and I wrote a song. And I said, this is a ballad, this is kind of a soul ballad. But what if I put a pedal steel on it? And I had the best guy in Alabama, this guy Todd Bean, who toured with Lucero for years, and now he tours with Chuck Reagan. What if I get him to play pedal steel on this soul song? Why just look at it in a linear sense? Why not look at it as a constant evolving, moving thing? And I think that's, without sounding like a pretentious asshole, I think that was my thought process.
You're doing it, man. And yeah, every artist, you got to evolve and change. And I do think with the technology, it's like whatever vibe you're picking up, it's like, I will say Tracy Morgan dropped a good jewel on me. The thing about an artist, you got to know your place and time. You can't be a dope artist trying to be a dope artist of 95 when you're in 2020. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta be this week. You gotta understand the vibrations that are happening right now and what people are dealing with. And I think that this album comes through because there is kind of this weird COVID, just to give a little bit, I mean, we could talk for 5 hours, but you just came back.
I got all day. I have nowhere to go.
I got an hour, and the edible just kicked in, so I could be a few hours.
Okay, I'm gonna spark up because it's legal here in DC.
Yeah, please. I want to talk all about that. But Nate was he did this big push with this solo project that wasn't with his band. That was kind of like the next step in his musical evolution, and it was just like this solo tour with just his acoustic guitar. Across Europe, and literally the week you landed, because I followed you, I saw it all go down. You were one of those cats. I talked to Ngayo Bilam on an earlier episode, and he was in Spain when it all went down, and he had a big gig, but you had a big tour all set up, and you were kind of stranded in London for a few weeks.
Yeah, it was really crazy. I mean, so this is the first solo tour. I got a great opening slot. People kind of started to talk about it a little bit because it kind of came out of nowhere. And I got to Sweden. I did 3 shows. They were some of the best some of the best experiences I've ever had. And I really, with this whole tour, I wanted to kind of get back to basics without thinking about tour buses and vans and tour managers and sound guys and the guys in my band. And I just wanted to go with an acoustic guitar, sleep in a van every night, and get back to the basics of why I started doing this, 15, 18 years ago. And I got to Sweden, played the shows, landed, and I'm just going to be, I'll just open up here. Why not? Because we're buddies. Landed back in Manchester, was preparing to go to London, drove halfway to London, parked my van, 2:00 in the morning, my phone starts going off. The tour's canceled. Okay, so 15, 16 dates ahead of me, flights booked, I'm in a rental car, the whole 9. Tour's canceled. The day before that happened, I actually got the phone call that my manager of the band's manager and now my manager for this new thing of 6 years passed away at 51 very suddenly. So it was just super. When I got the news that the tour was canceled, my knee-jerk reaction was first person I'm calling is my manager, Brian.
Brian
Dilworth, yeah. Legendary music person, a legendary Philadelphia guy.
Yeah, I knew
East
Brian
Coast.
Dilworth, just so the listeners, and I keep on saying viewers, but yeah, there'll be viewers. But no, Brian Dilworth was the sweetest, coolest, legendary music guy of Philly. He booked some of the most iconic punk rock venues for a good 10 years and then went on to kind of the bigger theaters. But he handled a lot of people on the East Coast, and you guys worked with him. And that would have been, yeah, he had this vibe about him that everything's going to be all right.
Literally. And that was he was a guy who was very connected in the industry, but I felt very part of his family. I knew his wife and his kid very personally. I spent many, 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 many nights over at their house.
I crashed at
And
his house once. Yeah.
yeah, that's so crazy.
I
You know
went
what?
out
I totally forgot. I
know, but we forgot. I
Actually.
met him earlier, and then you guys started working with him like 7 years later.
Yeah.
He met me on the Mitch Hedberg tour. So
Mm-hmm.
I saw him, I met him, and he booked that tour. And then he booked me with Michael Ian Black a couple other times to open up for him. And then he was trying to do this High Time show, and some things got messed up. But we would always go back. There was a good year that Brian Dilworth and I were just going back and forth on he knew comedy was about to pop, like even before. He just couldn't.
Yeah, and he was a big comedy fan.
Yeah,
He loved you. He loved you. He loved Hedberg. He loved Bill Hicks. He loved the shit that was like the real shit,
he
talking
watched
about
Saturday
vibrational
Night.
stuff.
Yeah, we watched Saturday Night Live together. Like, this is the type of cat, like, he would go home and watch, like, or tape Saturday Night Live, and he was one of those guys who would watch it every Sunday. Like, he would watch it back to forth. Like, he just knew comedy. He just knew it all.
He was a good dude, and
Great dude, yeah.
so I got that shocking phone call on the 8th or 9th of March, 10th, 2:00 in the morning. Whole tour's canceled. There's a travel ban in place. And again, all politics aside, let me tell you how our government was operating from the standpoint of somebody who was trying to get home. The Department of Homeland Security's website, where you would go to get updated travel information, for the first 3.5 days that they had the travel ban in place and things were shutting down, the instructions on the website were just a transcript of Trump's speech. Okay? So no actual valid information. So they said travel ban, but it is for citizens, but we didn't know till 5 days later. Then by the time I knew that I could fly home, the airports were madhouses, dude. I mean, just madhouses. Just like, it looked like a Japanese subway station. Just people pouring into this, and they were waiting for 12 hours, and everybody obviously was getting sick in those containment periods. So I ended up being stuck there for 13 days. I got the last flight out before they canceled all the flights out. I
remember that.
I lost an egregious amount of money, and I came home and immediately started working on new music. So what else can you do?
What else can you do, man? You grabbed your nuts and you started pushing it out there. That's why I'm psyched to have you on the Cannabis Coffee Hour.
Pleasure
I'm sorry
to be
you
here.
had to go through that shit.
But that's what we do, right? So I think this is quite an interesting time, because I see that as we talk about the wave, and along with waves of good stuff also comes the fake stuff and the bad stuff. And I think what's happening now is a lot of people who are musicians and comedians and artists, I think there's a lot of people who probably shouldn't be doing it. And I think now they're reassessing their entire plan to continue to do it. Because I know a couple people who went through similar situations as I did. And my first thought when I got back home and they're like, everything's shut down, I'm like, when can I go back on tour? And I know a lot of other people were like, well, I'm going to start applying for real jobs because I don't know if I can continue to do this to myself. And that's fine. But I do think that's the positive. That's the silver lining I'm seeing coming out of this, is that maybe there's a little thinning of the herd.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah, the only problem is going to be on life, too. There's a thinning of the herd. People are actually dying. But
yeah, it's terrible.
It's going to make it really hard for people that don't love it. And that's how it was in the 90s. Like, when comedy wasn't popping, because it wasn't covered on anything. Like you had to really love it to put up with the bullshit, because there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit with I mean, it's like, I will say there's a History of the World Part 1, Mel Gibson, or Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
I called him Mel Gibson, sorry.
Two very different people.
Two
One is a
very different
Jew.
Mels.
One is a Jew, and the other does not particularly like Jews.
Oh, the other one.
One is the opposite.
But I know we could talk about that forever. But I want to address some of that too. But what Mel Brooks was like, so the guy comes up in front of the court and goes, "What do you do?" He goes, "I do stand-up comedy." He goes, "Oh, so you're a professional bullshit artist." That's the only thing about comedy. Like music, you guys create the songs. Stand-up is literally buffoonery. I mean, in terms of, I know you're a big fan of podcasts. Podcasts is a whole other thing. But stand-up to its art form is you go up there and you get laughs by, writing jokes and all that. But at the same time, it is what it is. You're being a buffoon,
I get it. But I also think too, why I'm actually such a big fan of stand-up, because I think at its core is this really, and I don't want to say ugly truth, because I think it's a lot of beauty to it too, but there's this really ugly truth at the core of stand-up that strikes that chord with people. And I think that's what makes it funny, is that it's funny, it's buffoonery, but it's also striking this chord of like, well, we probably should laugh at this because it's such a deep, heavy thing we're talking about. And I think also with the boom of comedy right now, you're taking the torch where music has totally dropped the ball. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Like, and I'm a Foo Fighters guy. I'm a Nirvana guy. I love Dave Grohl as a hometown hero. But like, look at the platform this guy has to speak the truth. Or look at so many major artists have this platform to say things that are fucked up and uncomfortable, like all of our heroes did before. And I really don't think it's happening anymore. So I think comedy is one of the last places where people are talking about stuff that is really transcendent of the fake, phony, materialistic bullshit that's like, like TikTok.
You're talking about eating ass a lot.
yeah, but that's what that's what's happening in the streets, dude.
That's what's happening in the streets. No,
that's how COVID spread around New York City, was that.
I know, but it's like, I try not to go holier than thou much. I used to in my day, and but I kind of seen stand-up. No, I think stand-up is the core of all cores, but I think all of these things, it's a blessing if you even get paid $1. For you to
yeah, dude.
To be paid $1 to play the trumpet or play the guitar or tell a joke, like that's the whole reward. So it's hard for me to ever, like, I try not to judge people as harshly as I try to like work on my own shit. And the thing is like, yeah, there is huge platforms, and I think music did push it. I've been getting deep back. I never was super Tool. Like, I liked a couple of their tunes, but lately I have been going back to them and getting deep in Tool and kind of tapping into that thing that you're talking about. That is like this universal truth that we're all living and processing and all suffering. And a lot of it is just, you have to go through it, That's what I've learned with life, is like, even the worst stuff and even the best stuff is just moving through it. And how much you scream and cry and yell, it's still not going to stop it, because you're still going to go through it, So it's like, I just especially Tool and the shadow self. Like, I've been reading a lot about ego. And the thing about comedy you have to watch about, and the thing about art, it's, I don't know, it's very selfish in some ways. It's very me. It's very me.
Right.
Look at me. It's all about me. So, and if you say, "Oh, look at me, I have all the answers."
No,
that's like,
okay, fair enough.
You have the answers for you. You don't have the answers for that motherfucker.
Right, but okay, so let me rephrase what I said. What happened to artists asking the questions? It's not about the answers, but I feel like, could you imagine if Hendrix were around today and they were like, "Hey, listen, all along the Watchtower, it was good for Dylan, but it's not going to work well on TikTok. So we're going to have to shelve that one. We need you to do something that's going to cut in 30 seconds and be a little more down the middle. We wouldn't have just think about that. I mean, think about our heroes existing in that, in these things that we're dealing with today. I mean, it's it's where's this, I guess,
I think
I'm not
Jimmy
judging anyone.
Killed it on TikTok. People would have been going.
yeah. I just like
mother over there. This one's for her.
Yeah, 30 seconds. They cut him up at 30.
Have you ever listened to Jimi Hendrix like talking off stage?
Yeah. He's great.
He's hilarious. He's making jokes like literally the whole time. I have a great photo of Jimi Hendrix, and he has an album of Lenny Bruce. Like he was really into comedy. No, if you listen to Hendrix, it's all like, there's that one he's talking. He's like, this is a song about Bob Dylan. There's his mother over there. And he's just making bullshit up. It's like, I slept on gold mattresses last night. He's just fucking around. But I always saw the humor in him. I always liked bands with a good sense of humor. But there is like that's an interesting concept.
I mean, it's just, I guess approaching this new stuff for me was really more about just like trying to say things that I thought, like my truth, and not allowing outside influence to affect that, because I think there is a lot of self censorship and corporate censorship, and I think when you put those two things together, you get the worst. It's all about money, and I think you end up getting the worst comedic, artistic, musical product. That you get something that's just so watered down from its intention. I
know. But the only thing is, I just know the good art is when you don't think about it.
100%.
And you don't, it's like, it's my new thing is like, if you talk about comedy, it's never funny.
Ever.
Then, but if you talk about God, it's like, it's probably the least godly thing you could do.
I agree.
It's all about that moment, and I think music, you're capturing the moment. And if you're honest, and it'll transcend. But I tell you what I think is getting hip, and I heard it in your sound, is how powerful, just because I'm in comedy world and I know how things change and I know how things move. But what I've noticed, how powerful is Nashville in the music business right now? Like,
it's crazy because
like if you're in the music business, you wouldn't want to be in LA. Like you want to be in Nashville, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nashville is for musicians as to what like being a stand-up comic in New York City is as far as resources go. Like there's 400 studios and there's 300 producers, and there's every label has an office in Nashville. Every management company has an office in Nashville. There's tons of ways to utilize where you live. And that's something I don't think you get in a lot of places for music. Yeah, they're doing great stuff down there.
But that makes sense. But it's almost with technology, and we're talking on Zoom, I think you're in a great position. And so you just put up your Patreon like 3 weeks ago, but you're up to over like 100 patrons,
Yeah, today it hit 120, and it's going up. And basically I'm approaching it like, yes, I'm always going to utilize Spotify, and I'm always going to utilize these things that are kind of like corporate giants that kind of push your stuff out there a little bit, but they're kind of reaping more reward from your work than you are. So I'm using the Patreon. I'm going in the studio and I'm cutting 10, 20. I have 30 songs in the bank, and every 100 subscribers on Patreon, I give them a new studio track that I don't put on Spotify, that I don't put on any other outlet, because that's what it's about, right? It's about being in your own lane and developing the people that are, the people that are paying my Patreon's only $5 a month. And the people that are paying that $5, there's no bigger tier, no smaller tier. The point is like, they're spending their money, and I'm taking that money, and I'm giving them something back without having like some other interest involved in it. Like, it doesn't need to get on a playlist, and it doesn't need to do this or that, and it doesn't need to be, obviously want those other outlets to be successful for my music. But at the end of the day, it's just about the people who want to support me being a musician. It's not Spotify doesn't give a fuck if I die tomorrow. They
No,
just don't they don't care.
no,
There's a million other me's willing to upload their music on it.
yeah, it's the same thing with Twitter, like all these written jokes. Like you want the publicity, but for like the amount of dollars it really gets into the artist's pocket, it's like you're doing all this work and doing all this hustle for this notoriety, but you're really just pumping up some other weirdo website. You might as well pump up your own weirdo website.
Right.
$5, yeah, I think your thing is brilliant. And I think $5, that's how much, if you were into an artist, that's how much you would spend anyway. Not even that much.
Well, even for your Patreon or anyone's, I think if you look at what you want to spend on artistic content as a consumer a month, you have Netflix, you have HBO. So let's say you want to spend $50 a month all in on everything. You can give $3 here, $5 there, $10 here on Patreon, and you're getting like, you're really making a difference in an artist's life to continue to create music that or comedy or anything that you like. And that's why it's been so successful, I think, for podcasts, is because if you love a podcast and you get one a week for free and you get 2 or 3 a week because of the Patreon, why wouldn't you pay the $3? I mean, I got this oat milk triple shot latte at a place in Capitol Hill today, and it was $7.75 with a tip.
Yeah.
Okay. That's $2.75 more than my Patreon costs for the whole month.
Oh yeah.
So it's bang for the buck, and it's niche. You know, everything is. You know, I don't really know that like me going to do a set on the Tonight Show really generates audience members anymore.
Yeah.
I don't really know that I just don't think it does. So,
no. Yeah, there's so much variety and there's so much people can hone into exactly what they like. And what you got blew my mind. You just got 3 espresso shots?
Yeah, with oat milk.
With oat milk over ice.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good one, man. That is, and where did you get that from? I know my place right across from Eastern Market. I just like it. It's Java Beach? No, Java, I don't know. It's Java.
The Java Bean Cafe.
Yeah, John. Yeah, right there on the corner. I like how those guys.
That's a good little spot. They got some good smoothies. That's a good place.
Those leather chairs next to the window. That's a good hang with the Wi-Fi if you need to hide out.
My go-to. I have 2 spots. One spot I love coffee at is it's called Emily's, and it just opened on 12th in Pennsylvania, right on the main strip near the new Fragers. That's a great spot in Capitol Hill for coffee. They also have a great hot chicken sandwich. My go-to spot is Call Your Mother Deli on Barracks Row. Call Your Mother is a Jewish bagel deli coffee spot, and it's they say Jewish because it's not kosher, but it's great.
Well, it sounds dope, man. I'm drinking Counterculture coffee. This is
very nice.
Hologram, so it's good. I just picked this bag up, but there's one thing. Can you play us a song? I just wanted to bring up one other thing, and we're running near 40 minutes here.
Cool.
We're flying through this thing. I could talk. This can be a 20 hour podcast.
Yeah, we'll do another one soon.
Have you heard about this other Rob Cantrell popping up?
No.
Good. Well, I don't want to give him much pub, but I'm getting killed on Twitter right now. I had to change my Twitter handle. But there's literally a guy, there's a Proud Boy Nazi dude named Rob Cantrell killing it on Twitter right now. It's but they're going after him. He's not even on Twitter, but it's, I don't even want to go into it. I don't want to give this guy any press, but I just want
to. But did people start kind of coming at you thinking you were.
Illinois Nazis. What's that?
Yeah. So people kind of started to at you thinking it was him?
Yes, people started coming at me like that.
Couldn't you just take one look at a picture of you and know that you couldn't be a Nazi if you tried?
I know. I retweeted like Tracy Morgan's head writer. Like, even if you look at my shit, it's just like, dude, are you kidding me? I'm as liberal. I'm beyond liberal. I want to live in a tree and drive a buffalo around.
Yeah, you wear Fila jumpsuits and you break dance. There's nothing supremacist about that.
No, it's not. It's not even in my DNA. I was born in 1972 in Northeast DC on 60 Constitution. Like literally, I listened to go-go before hip hop. Like there's there's no racist Nazi.
I didn't hear anything about it, so hopefully it just blows over.
Yeah, I think it's gonna blow over in a couple
Fuck
days.
these
I
people.
wanted to bring that up. But I also want to get because I'm doing the free Zoom, so they might hit us with a charge, yo.
Okay, so, let's get in and out before.
Yeah, let's get in and out. Let's get you a tune. Do you have a tune ready to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll play the first single that I put out on the Patreon. It's called "Living on the Line." It's about what we do.
Yeah, living on the line. Day to
right.
day, everybody.
Should I just rip into it?
Yeah, Nate Bergman. I'll give you a little intro. This is Nate Bergman. Check out his album. Check out his Patreon. Nate Bergman Sings is his
That's
Instagram. And Nate Bergman Sings is his Twitter. Get at him. Yeah, man. He has so many stories. But yeah, here's the new tune. What's it called?
Cool. It's called "Living on the Line." Here I am shaking with blood on my hand. These ain't the clothes of no innocent man. I will never see the light, but I can tell when I burn in hell. The fire is bright. I say, oh, living on the line, almost running out of borrowed time. I say, oh, metaphysical change. Almost could not leave this astral plane. Here I am making excuses again. These ain't the words of no honest man. I will never know the peace of some man who's entrusted his plan to some lost deity. I say, oh, living on the line, almost running out of borrowed time. I say, oh, metaphysical change. Almost could not leave this astral plane. I say, oh, living on the line, almost running out of borrowed time. It's a metaphysical type of change. Almost could not leave this astral plane. I will never see the light, but I can tell when I burn in hell. The fire is bright. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Woo!
Thanks so much.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Hey.
My neighbors fucking hate me, dude.
No, it's a decent hour right now. This is an asshole hour. This is an asshole hour.
Yeah, but it will be later tonight.
Out, Nate. You did
it
that.
It will be later tonight. Thank you, man.
You did that for me. I appreciate that, man. And that takes to sing honestly and purely like that is it takes a bravery, and it takes, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not sensitivity, but when you're
3-shot espresso.
Vulnerability. And that's the strongest. When you can be vulnerable in front of your motherfucker, if you could be vulnerable, that's the most honest shit. So
yeah. I mean, that's the idea behind all this new stuff, is that I there's no pretense. I just want to sing for people, man, and that's the goal. So
I love it, man. That voice, man, Nate. So good luck with everything. I think you're just an amazing cat, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate
likewise, Rob,
doing this, dude. And that just got me charged, man. I hope the recording, I'm as DIY with this project, so hopefully the sound will come out on that shit, because it was fucking amazing.
Hey, if it doesn't, we'll do another one,
Yeah, we're gonna do another one with as we're going up and beyond. Like literally, I want to be in a coffee shop with a nice small sound stage and smoking spliffs with you, and have you perform the music well checked and everything. Like that's kind of the vision for this whole thing. That I'm gonna get kind of.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's the vibe. Yeah, music is powerful. What are you listening to? Like, I'll tell you what I saw JJ Cale, what I was laughing about. I've been going deep on JJ Cale and Humble Pie.
Yeah, Humble Pie is amazing.
Humble Pie, that lead singer's been tripping me out. But JJ Cale was talking about, they were like, what have you been doing? And he like dropped out of the music industry for a minute. He goes, I've just been listening to hip hop and Van Halen and mowing in my lawn.
Yeah, that's it.
I was like, hell yeah, he is. Because you can't, dude, Van Halen, you can't diss on Van Halen.
No, it's very hard to find something wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong. I mean, those first albums, like the first 3 albums, that's as American good rock and roll as Chuck Berry, Yeah,
when you hear Eruption, that's it. It's over, man. If you listen to Eruption and drink one of these 3-shot espressos, you could punch a hole through a wall. No problem. No stress.
No stress. There's something about art, if it's good, it'll last. And yeah, it's just like some of these songs, like, yeah, Van Halen. And then, a lot of the hip hop, I'm sure he was listening to NWA, but I always saw him as kind of a visionary when Eric Clapton is, grabbing your shit.
Of course.
You got something.
I actually recently I read Rakim's book. I have it right here. It's
I met Eric B one time.
Is it Don't Sweat the Technique?
That's one of his tunes. Sounds right.
Man, his book is about creativity and his process, and he walks you through his childhood and to the moment he like got into rap and how he's discovering how he can flow. He's the first rapper to kind of flow over the bar line. So I just went back and started listening to it, and I was like, oh my God, this is I've been listening to a lot of Rakim because of that. Dude,
Rakim is high-level rap lyricist.
It's insane. And
how he lines up, I saw how he lines up. A lot of it's like the mathematic from Allah, like a lot of the 7%er, how he lines up the lyrics. Like he looks at the words mathematically. Like he was the first to like write them all down. Then artistically, not from word to word, but whole phrasing supposed to mean something like.
It's crazy.
And it's fun. I always say like, hip-hop, it's scary how hip-hop has gotten, I even like the new Pop Smoke shit. It's gotten so scary. And you're the younger generation than I am. But it's so violent.
Generation before, but I recently got into this guy. I know we have to wrap up soon, but I did get into this guy. He's from PG County, and now he's pretty massive. His name's YBN Corday.
Oh, wow.
I heard about him because I was reading an interview, and Eminem was saying, a lot of the new trap stuff is kind of trash. The best new rapper I've heard in years is YBN Corday, and I was like, wow, if you're getting that kind of endorsement, that's wild. So I checked him out, and he's like 18 or 19 or 20, and he is incredible, literally incredible. He's a kid, and he's one of the best lyricists I've heard in a very, very long time.
Oh, coming from PG County. Yeah,
Yeah, PG County boy.
yeah, we have, like, growing up, we never had the best lyricists in go-go music. Like, we had,
No,
what do we had?
no.
DJ Cool. DJ Cool was not
Yeah,
that good of a lyricist,
no. No,
but
and
we're funk.
Chuck Brown is not also known for his lyrics, but it's a vibe and it's a soul and
Yeah, it's all vibe. I'm all about vibe. That's why I don't hate on trap, and I definitely don't hate on, like, I'd never want to be an old head preaching to the young heads. I want to get into the young heads to see what's happening.
well, there is some good stuff out there. I mean, the funny thing is though, when you look at like Travis Scott's last record, and you looked at his biggest tune, which was it was the big Travis Scott one from.
I know that album's massive, but
okay, his biggest, the number one track on there with Drake.
Yeah.
Written and composed by Q-Tip.
Oh wow.
And it's straight up the weird, funky trap. And you're like, why is this song so much better than these other songs?
But Q-Tip's been doing it forever. Like, he was a producer for,
yeah, but that's the point. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I will say, yeah, Drake, I like kind of some of his stuff. But I will say, but the thing about DC, it's just funkier. Go-go, the thing about go-go is it never got, like, hip-hop is like as pop music as you get. Like, it's so massively consumed. Go-go was just funky enough that it couldn't get absorbed. You know, white America would not jump on. It's just too damn funky.
Right. I mean, the roots of Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Philly really had to tap into go-go. Like, Jill Scott did a couple tunes with a go-go beat that were kind of chart-topping things, and Jay-Z did. And
That's
once in a while, Missy Elliott, you hear it once in a while, like the go-go
everybody
flavor.
in hip-hop respects go-go because they know it's the funkiest and it never sold out.
It's the best.
When Jay-Z bites your lyric, Jay-Z, the 10 in the morning, 6 in the morning, that's all the biggest
Rare
hit.
Essence.
He stole it from Rare Essence. Everybody in
it's
DC
Rare Essence.
He totally ripped it off because it was a dope-ass party jam, but it would never get any radio play. Jay-Z fucking knew that. He went
Those are the best DC lyrics
I think that's
right
a good prop on him. Like, you know, when the best rapper alive is stealing your shit, man, that's like, yo.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. What was it? I was going to talk about DC and funk, and we're going to. Do you like Humble Pie? Have you listened to Humble Pie?
I love Humble Pie.
Yeah.
I got super into Humble Pie and Free, the band Free, which is the singer for Bad Company before. Paul Rogers. I got into Humble Pie, Grand Funk Railroad, Free. I mean, there's just some stuff at that point that didn't blow up that's just so good. It's American rock.
It's American 70s, good dirty rock that before the internet. So it was all these bands just touring.
Yeah.
Making a living. Yeah. Some of the tunes. What else are you listening to right now?
Oh man, I got super heavy into the new Clutch record that they put out right at the end of last year, which is called Book of Bad Decisions. It's so good. I've been listening to this.
Amazing. Those dudes, from a work aspect, from an artist aspect, no, I give all props to Clutch and how they've kept it going and how they've just maintained their sound. It's just, if you like rock and roll and you're not fucking with Clutch, then I don't know, I don't know what you need.
I've been checking out this band from Nottingham, UK, called the Sleaford Mods. Do you know them?
No.
It's wild, like grimy street UK hip hop, but it has this punk rock aesthetic to it, and it is wild. There's nothing that sounds like this. It's really, the lyrics are so good, and the delivery is so nonchalant, UK up the punks. You'll really love it, and it's all with the drum machine.
That Cockney, I don't know how they call it. That London slang is some of the smoothest shit out there.
I love it. I love it.
I can listen to it for an hour. What's that?
The UK hip hop scene, the grime scene.
Dizzy
so
the Rascal.
crazy.
Yeah, the Dizzy
Rascal.
Those beats are really grimy and electronic-y and weird.
Right.
Off, and then the rhyme style is different and off, but some of the phrases.
Skepta, Skepta out of the UK is wild. Skepta. Wow. There's some really good stuff coming out of the UK. I mean, the UK is always kind of at the forefront of what is hip.
You think?
Yeah, I do. And I'll tell you why. Because I watched 2 years ago, Drake signed to that to this like grime rapper's little label to like release Drake stuff in the UK, and he so badly wanted to be associated with these guys, and these were not big time guys. So if an artist like that is tapped into, or like Stormzy and Jay-Z, like if Rihanna and Jay-Z are tapped into like Stormzy and the UK underground hip hop scene, that's the hippest shit there is.
Wow.
It's just a fact.
Yeah,
I mean, we had Muddy Waters, and we had Howlin' Wolf, and then England turned around the Beatles and Rolling Stone and Cream and Zeppelin. So while I think we're the originators, I think it goes to the UK to become cool.
Wow. Yeah, I think that there is something cool about London. I don't know. It's not as, I don't know. I think it might be, I don't think it's as savage as we are over here. To be an artist is almost, you could get by.
It's not as savage.
It's just savage. Like, it's like, our artists, you're kind of looked on as a bullshit artist. Like,
you might get shot. You might get shot. Yeah,
you might get shot. But there, you might hang out at a pub, and there might be the local hooligan, but he doesn't have a gun.
yeah. You might get a headbutt.
No, but I do think it's London's always been. I'm glad that it's still that, because I know it's stand up. So the international scene is just blowing up, but we're the first to do it. So it's kind of like. American stand-ups are looked upon. Like, I need to go internationally because I hear it's a good market.
Straight up, dude.
And I just watched that Miles Davis biography on Netflix. It's dope. Have you seen
Amazing.
that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Anything that hits Netflix that's got music in it, I'm watching it.
That's what I've been into. The ZZ Top. Tiger King kind of bummed me out. I thought the ZZ Top was much better.
Yeah. ZZ Top is an example of like great American things, and Tiger King's an example of like why the rest of the world hates us.
Yeah, exactly. That it was a. But did you see in Tiger King one of the dudes was wearing a Clutch shirt?
I did, and I had some choice conversations with the guys in the band about that. They were not too terribly stoked.
But it just says how big those guys have gotten. And
big, man. Internationally.
And to save face, that guy was the coolest guy in the camp.
Best one, for sure. He was the only real dude.
He was the only dude I liked out of that whole crew. The Miles Davis one, but when he went to Europe was just like, it just blew his mind. How they treated artists, how they treated,
Yeah.
I think they get like, it's a part of culture. We need these people to survive.
Yeah, what's everyone doing right now on quarantine lockdown? They're absorbing and ingesting art all day long.
They would be completely crazy and bored with life if they didn't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's viable. It's very important.
Me too.
I think America does put out some dope art, though. We got some good stuff.
Absolutely. No, listen, it's not a knock. I'm just saying. It is hardcore out here.
And we got some good herb lately. Like Amsterdam used to be the shit, but tell me, we'll sign off on this before it's almost 4:20. It's 4:00. But how's the DC scene? Like, it's literally legal. I got people on the inside telling me it's about to go big, super big there. Like,
it is the wild fucking West out here. You have clinics, you have your like medical stores, you got delivery services, it's decriminalized, but it's not fully legal. It's not recreational, but it's legal. It might as well be McDonald's out here.
But as soon as you go over Northern Virginia, though, it gets tight, right?
It gets dicey, but the governor of Virginia just decriminalized it.
Oh, good for them. I always said road in Virginia.
They're pushing the right direction. I still don't fuck with Virginia that hard. Like, I won't bring drugs into Virginia, but I'm now not like, I don't think I'm going to throw my life away if I accidentally drive over the border with a joint.
Yeah, that's what I always looked at. Virginia's always been shitty with pot laws.
Maryland's pretty chill. Maryland's pretty cool.
Maryland's always been cool. And I heard word on the street, Maryland is like almost legalized. There's like dispensaries over there in Baltimore.
It's crazy. Baltimore, everywhere. Silver Spring, Montgomery County, everywhere. There's dispensaries everywhere.
Go. Yes.
Worldwide weed, baby.
Worldwide weed, yeah. But Nate, thank you so much. Let's hang out.
Rob, it's always a pleasure.
Next time we hang, you're one of my favorite people to catch up. I'd love to have you on again.
Online and offline, the conversation would be very similar.
Yeah, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
All right. We talk about a DMT trip. We talk about some food.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I'll end it. Peace.
Peace. Cheers.